Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the You Thrive Everyday Show. And today I'm excited because things might get a little spicy up in this thing. You know what I'm saying? It might get a tad spicy. But I would like to welcome this awesome goddess. She's just awesome sauce itself. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So let's welcome, I call her Nita. Let's welcome Goddess Nita to the show.
Hello, hello.
And so, I don't know, so many sparks of thoughts just went shoo, 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 shoo. Okay, Nita. So start off telling the people where you from, and the parenting. Like, did you grow up in a house with both your parents? Do you have siblings? Things of that nature.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So, I'm Jenita Sharon. Hello, everyone. I am okay. So I was born in Texas, raised in
What part
North
of
Carolina.
Texas?
Okay. So we lived in a little town called King, Texas.
Hmm.
But there was no hospital there. So I was born in Cleburne, Texas, because that's where the hospital was. And we lived in Austin, Texas, and we lived in Bastrop, Texas. So those are the three places. And we left when I was 5, and we moved to Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Hmm.
But we were there 2 years or so, and then we moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and that's where I was raised. And then when I was 19, came here to Huntsville, Alabama, and I've been here the majority of my life. There was a time period where I went to Dallas, Texas for 2 years and came back here. So this is home. And we moved here when I was like 19. And I'm about to be 50 now. I did this on purpose.
Damn.
This month. So I'm very excited about that.
Okay.
75, baby.
The young elder in the building. So this is interesting to me. So you said the hospital was in what now? Let me make sure I
Okay.
heard that right,
So,
Jen.
okay.
Cleve
So
what?
Cleburne, Cleburne, Texas.
Cleve burn.
Like Cleburne.
Okay. Because what
Cleburne.
I was thinking when as soon as you said that, I'm like, okay, a town called King was where she was conceived at. Then we go to Cleaverville.
Yeah, Cleburne. Yeah, it's Keen, Keene. I believe that's how it's spelled.
I'm like, that's some
And
that's some damn Lilith energy for real. Okay.
that's what.
I said that's some damn Lilith energy for real.
Interesting.
You're born into royalty, and then you know what I'm saying. We get to the. That's the first thing that came to my mind was Cleaver.
That's funny.
Yeah, I know I'm morbid. I know,
No, it's fine.
just a little morbid. All right,
No,
so tell me, so you grew up in a house with both your parents.
I did.
You had
Up until
siblings?
I was the only child.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yes, I was the only child. I was up until 15. That's when they got a divorce. Up to 15. I do have a sister. She is 25 years younger than me.
Okay.
She's the same age as my youngest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
They're a month apart. So I was the only child for the longest. So to be honest with you, I really don't even know what it feels like to be a sister because I was grown when she came. So
Exactly.
to me, it's like she's like a little cousin, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But she is um and she lives in Mexico.
And so
So
just real quick, because my daughter would probably be the only child. Hmm. So what was that experience really growing up and being the only child?
very, very interesting experience. Um, I used to say, I think until like maybe 10, and I was like, I want a brother and sister. I want a brother and sister. I used to say that like crazy. Um, but that never happened. And it was meant not to happen. It was just supposed to be me. It was just supposed to be me.
Why you feel like
But
that?
say again,
Why you feel like that?
it was too much going on in my family situation. It didn't need to be another child.
Mm,
We went through an extreme amount of struggling, and we moved around a lot. We moved around so much that people used to say, "So, what? Are you a military? You a military kid?" No,
right. Mm,
no, not a military child at all. No. My Okay, so my parents, my they okay, let me back up. I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. That's what I used to be.
can you say
Seventh,
that again and say it slower?
yes, Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
That was I was a Christian. The denomination is called Seventh-day Adventist. So that's what I was raised. So Keene, Texas, where we live, there was a Seventh-day Adventist college there,
Mm.
and so the way we got there was, well, before I was born. When my parents got married, my like shortly after they got married, like my mother didn't even get to open up her wedding gifts. A friend or something was moving to Texas, and they asked my dad to help. So my mom and dad went to go, I mean, help them move there, and they ended up getting stuck there.
Mm.
So that's how we ended up in Texas. They never came back. Well, not till years later. So that's how we ended up getting stuck in King, Texas, and then I was conceived. And so my mom was 18 um, when she went to Oakwood University, Oakwood at the time, Oakwood College, Seventh-day Adventist um, college university now here in Huntsville, Alabama. And she was 18 when they got married. My dad was 22, and so she was very young. So my mother didn't have a lot of experience, and she didn't have street smarts. So my dad was able to cultivate her the way he wanted to.
Hmm. I like that you use the word cultivate, honey, because they be like mold. Hmm.
Yeah,
Mold a bitch. Yeah. Hmm.
right. So yeah, so we got we but when I got a reading some years ago, and it was a, like, what was she, like a past, not a regressionist, but a past life something, because I kept saying, I feel like to myself, I didn't say it to the lady, I kept saying, I feel like I was a man in my past life, I really feel like I was a man in my past life. Right. And so when I had my reading with her, she was like, "So you used to be a Mexican man." I was like, "I know it." And then she was like, "You were for some reason you've been coming out of the Texas Mexico area every time you reincarnate. Not every time, but the last majorities of incarnations has been in the Texas Mexico area, which was interesting. So they had to go. It just, the circumstances worked out for them to go there so that I could be so that I could be conceived in that area. That's how I see it now.
Yeah. And so you were
Yeah.
saying king. I thought you were saying king.
King. It's
Okay.
spelled
Yeah,
Keen.
Keeen. Yeah, I'm familiar. I'm
Mm-hmm.
familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, honey. So explain what it's like. growing up in this religious space because from what I've heard, about this religion, it seems to be a lot more strict than even, what they got, the Baptists, the, don't give me the name. Y'all know I don't know, but I know it's different branches of these things. You know what I'm saying? But it's like y'all was real strict.
It's very strict. It's extremely strict. Um, excuse me, and even more so than it was now. But it's still strict. But back then it was more. And then of course before me it was off the chain strict. But okay. So and being a Saint Adventist, the thing about that was they believed in a prophetess whose name was Ellen G. White. Her along with another man, because I'm not even trying to get into details of who started and all that, but um uh she she supposedly, you know, had messages or whatever that she helped to start the Adventist church. And so instead of people in the Adventist church, what people didn't, in my opinion, what I feel like a lot of people didn't realize was that they focused more on her than God, Jesus,
Right.
which is the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing when you're being religious. You know what I'm saying? Like she had all these different books, and we're supposed to read as many of these books as we could with all this, all these rules, all this indoctrination, all this stuff. No, 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 can't. It was ridiculous. And um, so what we did, we went to church on Saturday instead of Sunday, and um, which the fourth commandment in the Ten Commandments in the Bible. That was a reason. And so we looked at Sunday people. People went to church on Sunday. We would say Sunday people. That's how we would refer to people. We would say Sunday people, because as far as we were concerned at that time, let me say, I don't want to say we. I'm not that anymore. They, like, Sunday people who went to church on Sunday were like definitely going to church on the wrong day. Like, no, this is the wrong day. The day is the seventh day, like the Bible says, you know. And so, because that's the Sabbath, according to the Bible. So, and also they feel like they were the chosen ones. They feel like um, we're supposed to go out into the world and teach everybody the truth, and everyone is supposed to become Seventh day Adventists. It was even literally at the point where a lot feel that at the time, a lot of people felt like if you weren't Adventist, you weren't going to heaven.
That part. Mm-hmm.
So there's like, that's extreme. You know what I'm saying?
And so how did they feel about homosexuality?
Oh, that's 100% heck no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not at all.
So it,
Totally.
it never got to the point to where like in some of these religions now, you know what I mean? Like they're opening the doors for homosexuality.
No, no.
Mm.
I remember hearing a story that it was two men, and one was a pastor and he was Seventh Day Adventist, and he was trying to be under the, say the name and be under the umbrella. They weren't having that. They were like, oh heck no. Mm-mm,
Oh
none
wow.
of that. There was in, in that denomination, what a lot of people don't realize, even the ones that's still in it, is that you're operating in shame and not good enough. Uh, because when you're trained, the only way to God is through Jesus, through Christ. You're as filthy rags. You're it's constant of you're not good enough. You have to go through Jesus to get to God. You can't get to God yourself. Um, and unless you give your life to God, then you just gonna go to hell. Basically, I mean that's I don't even know if they realize that, but everything. If you don't do this, you're going to hell. You're gonna go to hell. If you don't do that, you're gonna go to hell. If you don't do
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna go
what
to hell.
kept y'all in line. Yeah.
Exactly, it totally kept us in line. And so like okay, so like on
So with
when
all
we
this, because this is what kills me too about most of these religions and shit. And I mean, this is just what I noticed too. I grew up, it wasn't in a church. We used to have Bible study, and I would be at somebody's home fellowship.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so we didn't do the church thing. But what I noticed about people in my own data collection was it would be a whole lot of shit going on. More, you know what I mean? More
Yeah,
shit going on in these religious so-called homes than it was with, people who were not a part of these denominations and shit.
exactly,
So with
exactly.
you being like raised in it, like what was some of the things that you was going through in your childhood?
So okay, so like with the rules, right? Um, like we had to prepare for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was from sunset Friday to sunset Saturday. So your whole week focused around Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
all about getting prepared for the Sabbath. And so um um so it's like okay, everything has to be clean. The food needs to be cooked. You need to have your clothes out and ready and everything. You don't because we're not supposed to work. There's no working on the Sabbath. You're not supposed to at all. Like no. And I remember when people had to do some type of work. It's a saying in the Bible. Um, it's when you say your ox is in a ditch. So like on if it's Sabbath and if your ox is in a ditch, you're not gonna leave the ox in a ditch for 24 hours. You're gonna go and get the ox out the ditch, right? So we would use that saying to get away with doing certain things, right? So let's say we don't have any food and we need to go to the grocery store. And so that we wouldn't feel guilty because we're not supposed to do anything that's not holy or focus on the Sabbath because it's a time of rest away from all carnal things, all worldly things. It's focusing on the Sabbath and God and your relationship and stuff like that. So if we went to if we went to the grocery store, we're literally we would literally be looking around like, oh, hope nobody sees me. Hope nobody sees me sitting here going to the store. And I remember I used to say, if somebody sees us and we walk around like this, that means they at the store too.
That part. Like you out too, you in trouble too. Like what the fuck?
And if somebody we would see another Adventist, we'd be like, oh, yeah, I know. It was just to go to the store to get some food to eat. It was crazy. We weren't supposed to go to restaurants. I remember I'm talking fast. I remember when we went to restaurants because we might not have food or we want to go out to eat. And there'll be a piece of guilt. It'll be a piece of guilt because we're not eating at home because we pay. Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to pay, buy, and sell anything also. So, you go to a restaurant, you got to buy the food. Well, that's breaking the Sabbath. And so some people would buy their food, let's say, get a receipt, right? Buy their food during the week so that they could go and eat on Saturday, like make arrangements. Like it was
That's
extreme.
crazy. But it's like not only do you gotta be programmed to remember the laws from your fake ass government, but then you gotta
Right.
be programmed to remember the laws also from this religious structure. That's crazy work.
Yeah,
And
and so
then too, so go
I was gonna say as far as a child. Oh, go ahead.
ahead.
So I'm gonna give you an example. So as a little girl, um, 3 on up, right? I was so trained on We can't do this, can't do that. You got to do this, got to be obedient. All these rules and everything, right? And we didn't wear jewelry. We weren't supposed to wear makeup, stuff like that. And so you're not supposed to look at TV, right? So my friends and stuff who aren't Adventists, you hear about Saturday morning cartoons, and those particular cartoons only came on Saturday, so we didn't get to see specific, cartoons. We hear about it, we wish we could see it, but we couldn't because it came on Saturday morning. And so if we go visit somebody and they have the TV on, because you're not supposed to look at TV because what? That's worldly, that's carnal.
Mm.
So I'll be a little girl feeling guilty looking at go to someone's house to visit them and the TV's on and I'm up here like looking over the TV and like this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up. You know, I'm not supposed to look at TV. I'm not supposed to look at TV. I mean, the indoctrination was serious. So the guilt and shame started so young in you of I gotta do right. I gotta try to be perfect. I gotta make sure I uh pray before I fall asleep because I sinned today and I don't want to die in my sleep and I didn't ask for forgiveness first and I'm going to hell. Like it's ridiculous.
Um,
It's ridiculous.
I mean, that's like, your nervous system is on fight and flight mode all
Yes,
day. That's
yes,
anxiety.
yes,
That's a lot.
yeah, yeah. So um so that's how that part was as far as religion. Now, because I grew up in it, I enjoyed going to church. I had fun because I grew up in it, and we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of activities. We had like people go to church on Sunday. They had Sunday school. We had Sabbath school. We had fun. We had like when people partied, we had socials where we played games and stuff like that, all kind of interactions. So we had the it was very close knit, and they did all kind of stuff to keep us away from wanting to do things in the world. So they would have a substitution to keep us under the umbrella and keep us focused in church stuff. So we missed dances. I didn't go to my prom. I didn't go to the type of dances. I missed out on all that type of stuff.
Mm. So now let's get to the tea, honey. So what about the drama? You know,
Okay. All right.
because it's always, that's what I mean about, growing up in these type of structures. Like it's always still like that drama in the house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where everything's
Yeah.
supposed to be decent and in order.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So we weren't supposed to drink alcohol or anything like that. And no drugs, no marijuana, none of that kind of stuff. And when you get baptized, you literally go through this oath of you're not gonna do this, you're not gonna drink alcohol, you're not gonna do this, the whole long list of things. So that was deep in me. And come to find out, my dad was um an undercover alcoholic.
Hmm.
And I didn't know this. I found out like 13, 13, somewhere around there. And I was just like, it's so funny because I was a daddy's girl. I was a daddy's girl, and we'll get into that. I was a daddy's girl, loved him to pieces. But it was I remember when my dad used to tell me if he does something wrong that I can get on him. Yeah, right. But this particular time, he had came home with some alcohol. And to me, that was like one of the biggest sins ever. It was like, how dare you? We're not supposed to do this. And you gonna have the nerve to bring this into the house. I was so angry with him. I was like, I can't believe you brought this in the house. And he had brought it in, popped open, started drinking it. I was like, nope, I wasn't having it. It's so funny how I stood up. I stood up to that big time. I was like, no, no, how you gonna do this? And my daddy has done stuff, but the alcohol was like, no, it was so crazy. He never brought it in the house again. Well, excuse me, where I could see it,
Right, I was about to say.
where I could see it. But anyway, so um, of course, you know, you get married, you're supposed to just be with your husband or wife, never get divorced. Basically, no matter what happens. That's basically they push that big time. So you have people cheating like crazy. So in my family, in my household, with my father, there was extreme cheating, extreme cheating. And um because me and my dad were so close, I was with him a lot. And when he would, so as far as trauma stuff or whatever, so when he would um meet with somebody, and I'm growing up as a little girl seeing this, meet with a lady or whatever, he would like drop me off at places. Like I remember I used to be dropped off at the library, and I'll be there all day. And he'll make a deal with the librarian. He'll have my little lunch. He'll have my little lunch. And he was like, okay, just keep an eye out for her. And I'll be at the library all day long. And he's out doing whatever, whether it's him doing working, entrepreneurial jobs here, this and the other, or out there being with women. He used to leave me in a car for hours while he's in the house. And I'm little. I'm 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a car. And look, you know, these days, leaving a child in a car, you get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? They people coming. I waited in the car so much it was crazy. He had me very trained on. He had me very obedient for situations so that I wouldn't get kidnapped and stuff like that. And like he would train me. He would give me like stories and give scenarios of how important it was to be obedient, do what he says, do exactly how he says it. Make sure I follow every single little thing. So I can be out somewhere, and let's say somebody would try to, as an example, would try to get me, oh, little girl, why are you here? Why are you here by yourself? Where's your parent? And I already knew what to say. I had all the words of what to say. Wouldn't go with them anywhere. It's oh no, I'm fine. You know, I went through whatever I had to say to be still, stay right there. So when my daddy got back from wherever he is, I better be right there. And he had me trained like that. And so because my mama she had a lot of innocence. And so she knew that my dad had cheated on her. She could feel it. My dad even told her that he their first year, he told her that how many women he had been with in his first year, which is a ridiculous number. And because she was so young and naive and fearful, she was hurt, but she felt like she had nowhere to go.
Mm.
Right. So she stayed. And my dad he would go out at night, you know, he do all kind of stuff. And then he'll flip back and forth where he's helping in church like crazy, you know, teaching stuff, being in quartet. He's living a double life.
Real
And
life.
and
Hmm.
I'm seeing this stuff growing up. And what I did to protect my mom, I didn't tell her anything. So she, even to this day, is a lot of stuff, it's so much stuff she doesn't know. But it's certain things that I told her when I was grown. But he did so much stuff in front of me. I saw so much that I shouldn't have seen, especially as a little girl. And I protected him and I protected her because I knew she wasn't gonna be able to deal with it. And because I was a daddy's girl, I protected him. So I was the one as a child that was always in the middle. So I did, and I was by myself a lot. I was left alone constantly. I was a latchkey kid. I, like so many kids back then, I learned how to cook 5, 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? I know how to be at the stove and cook whatever. Being home by myself for hours and hours, you know, sometimes till nighttime as a little kid, you know, walking to school by myself, coming home by myself. I did have babysitters and stuff, you know, here and there. But I really see me when I look at it, I did a lot of raising myself.
Yes.
I was taught a lot, but I also did a
You
lot
was
of raising
taught how to
myself.
raise yourself.
Right, right, right. Because well, mama had to work because my dad was in off and on with jobs. So she was the one to keep the money coming in because he did the stuff that he did. And so and my dad, he very intelligent, smart man. He was a carpenter, dry cleaner. He's great with his hands. He very intelligent. People didn't know, and even to this day, that my father is basically illiterate. And I knew this as a child. So I would compensate for him. So let's say he's talking to some people, and let's say somebody points to a sign or something to read real quick, and I would jump in and go, "Ooh, that says blah 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 blah." He didn't train me to do this. I did this automatically because so
Mm.
that to protect him, so they don't know that he can't read. And I'm doing this at a young age. I felt as a child responsible for both of my parents that I had to protect them. It's just this I gotta protect them. I have to protect them. I gotta protect my mama from knowing all about daddy because she wouldn't be able to handle it. That would just rip her to pieces. She wouldn't be able to handle it. I gotta make sure people don't know that my daddy can't hardly write and he can't hardly read. And it was like that as a child, just growing up of protecting them.
And
And
so,
so
with all this protecting that you was doing, because what's going on inside is usually projected on the outside, right?
mhm.
So, what were some events that took place in your life where you didn't feel protected since you exuding all this protection?
So there have been from struggling so bad, there's times I went through a lot of being hungry.
Mhm.
Where and I had where like when I used to run track in middle school and I'll be hungry like crazy. Sometimes some friends would give me food or something like that. I ran track. I literally would run track and had an apple the whole day because somebody gave me an apple and come in third on an apple. hungry, hungry. So I went through that. So that's definitely not feeling protected when you up here hungry. That was very frustrating. I was basically I went through a huge type of neglect. And my mother did not know that this stuff was happening because I was protecting him. So also um like I said, okay, so like I said, I was latchkey. So I'll come home. Let's say I forgot my key, right? We didn't have phones and stuff. So it's been plenty of times where I'm sitting on the porch and hoping that no adult sees me. So nobody come and, call DHR wherever to come pick me up. And it's thunderstorming, just terrible. And I'm just sitting there waiting for them to come home and they don't know. And it could be like 9 o'clock at night from school. If I went to school, got on a bus, came home, and I'm just sitting there just waiting because I forgot my key. Stuff like that. They it was a time where they argue all the time. The arguing was insane. It was ridiculous, and I just got so frustrated with it. So I was in elementary school, and I remember this one time I was like, I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna run away. This is ridiculous. I'm tired of this. Of course, the child. Where am I gonna go? I don't know. But I was like, I'm gonna run away. So I get all my stuff together. I pack my little thing, my little suitcase, put it on my little bicycle. They in there just cutting up. I leave. I go way down the street. It's nighttime. I go down the street and then I'm looking around like I don't know where I'm supposed to go, right? And I'm used to being by myself. So me being down the street by myself at night, what does that mean? That don't mean nothing. I'm been by myself so much. So I'm looking around, just trying to figure it out. I'm gone for a little while. I come back because I have nowhere to go. Why are they still in a room hollering and screaming at each other? They had no idea they child had even had left. And so I was just like, ugh. And then like sometimes I used to do stuff to get in trouble just so I could get a spanking. Because it was like, okay, I'm getting some attention.
I was gonna say attention, yeah.
Yeah. And you know how children, whether it's positive or negative, they want some attention.
No, I mean,
Um,
in the innocence, and thank you for saying that because, you know, a lot of us adults need to take note of that and learn how to create a balance. You know what I'm saying? Because children will do whatever it is that they need to do to get the outcome that they desire.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
And it is
exactly.
no wrong, right, you know what I'm saying, good, bad. It's no none of that. Like I'm gonna do whatever I feel I need to do to get what the fuck I want.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember this one time I was acting up, right? And I was like, and they were so into their own stuff. Not, now, listen, I'm not saying they didn't love me. Okay, so
No, of
make sure I
course,
say that.
of
I want
course.
to make sure I say that. But and a lot of arguments have to do because my dad is cheating, you know, so there's and doing stuff and just not paying bills and not doing this and not doing that, you know, just mess. And mom was upset and fussing. They fussing. But anyway, I would do certain things that I knew I was supposed to get a spanking for. And they'd be like they just so frustrated with the stuff that they just like, okay. And I'm like, what? And then I'll do something else. Mm, okay. And I kept doing so. I was like, I went to them, I was like, so y'all not gonna spank me? I did blah 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 blah. You're not gonna spank me? And I was mad because I didn't get a spanking, which is so crazy. Not like I like them, because I got plenty of whooping. But
No.
anyway, so okay, so let's back up. Um, I for some reason I'm changing lanes right now. For some reason, I just was very curious and wanted to, let me see how to say it. Was very interested in sex. And I think also that has to do with me, like that's a form of attention. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I think that has to do with it too. You know, that's getting some type of comfort, you know. And so I got introduced, as far as my memories, I got introduced to sex young, three, that I remember, like 3 years old. And I had like this little boyfriend in church. Had his little boyfriend, and he had an older brother. So his older brother taught him stuff. So while we would go to people's houses for dinner on Sabbath, right? So we're little kids, and I don't trust little children. I'm letting y'all know right now. I know how I was. I don't care if a child's 2 or 3 years old. You better go check on them with other children. Don't sit there and think, oh, they're just little kids. They're young. Nothing's happening. Whatever, whatever. And these days too, with the stuff that children can be exposed to, no, you have to keep your eyes on your kids. Don't let them be in a room, the door closed, and they
Oh
just
yeah,
playing
don't
like
play that.
crazy.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? No, no, no. Anyway, so me and the little boy, we same age. They thinking we just playing little children. We playing house at 3, 4, right? House. So we kissing, grinding, hiding up under the bed, acting like we having sex. All that. 3 years old. I knew what I was doing, and I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing that. But we love to do that. We would at church, we would hide and pretend like we were having sex and kissing and grinding. 3 years old. I had a boyfriend at daycare. Same thing. Just the sexualness was just like, right? And
But where did this come from? Like, are you saying that it just came naturally to you, or were you
so in
exposed to it?
so in my mind, uh, okay, so I remember my dad who was always cheating constantly,
Okay. I forgot you were
right?
always with him. Yeah.
Right. He's always cheating. So
No, I get that. Yeah. So you've
yeah, so
seen a lot by that time already. Yeah.
right. I never see him like have sex with women, you know what I'm
You
saying? But
sure?
no, I'm not because I have a lot of stuff that's blocked.
Because we know
A
a
lot.
lot of, I mean, let's just keep it real, you know what I mean? Especially back then. It's kind of like one of those ordeals where, it's like, oh, they a baby or, oh, they so little. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And motherfuckers be
Right, right,
having
right.
sex right while you in the bed. You wake up and, you just watching, you know, but your
Right.
subconscious mind is picking that up, you know?
Right.
And like, for
Yeah.
instance, I would go to my aunt's house and my aunt had four girls. And then it'd be me and my sister. But at this time, my sister wasn't born yet. But I was like, probably because I was one of the eldest. So maybe I was like six or something.
Hmm.
No, maybe we was younger than that. I don't know, but we was like back to back to back, all five of us girls, you know?
Uh-huh.
And they used to sit us, like, literally, my aunt and uncle would be in the bed, and we would all be at the foot of the bed, like sitting down on the floor while they watching porn. You know what I'm saying? And in
Yeah.
their mind, they like, oh, they just look, because we ages from like two to, like five. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
like, that's, yeah.
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 Yeah. That's yeah. Yeah.
So I'm saying
Um,
at three, it's very probable that people are having sex in front of you and like, oh, she just so little. You know what I'm
that
saying?
is very probable. Very probable. Because there's a lot of memories that I have blocked out. Also, as far as that, when I was 3, 4 years old, my babysitter's son, he used to, okay, so this is on YouTube, SA me
Hmm.
with the R. So I was exposed to it physically for real during that time. So that, once you're being touched, that opens up the whole door for so many people. And so um also um my dad, okay, I was in elementary school. I guess I was 8 or 9, and my dad had a whole lot of porn magazines. He had them hiding. That's being that I'm home all the time by myself. All I'm doing is going around discovering, looking at places I have no business
Of
looking.
course. And what a great study.
Right. So under his bed, he had like a crazy amount of porn magazines. When I tell you, summertime too, what? And after school, that I couldn't wait to get home to go look at the magazines, looking at them, enjoying them. You feel your body feeling all the sexual stuff because of what you're looking at. So I'm being sexually stimulated drastically by looking at all this porn all the time, every day. Like it was ridiculous. Like I couldn't wait to go and look at. I don't even know if it was a day I didn't come home and make sure I looked at a magazine.
Of course. So now that you like think back on it, do you
Uh-huh.
think that Pops could have had a sexual addiction?
Oh heck yes!
Okay.
I think that's exactly what he had because he could. It's like he couldn't. It was an obsession. It was ridiculous. It
Mhm.
was totally insane how much he was cheating. It was crazy. And
Mhm.
I used to tell him, I'm like, Daddy, um, why you keep doing this? Like, why you keep doing this to Mama? She, she, she know you cheating on her, And this is what he used to say: if she can't see it, she can't prove it.
Girl.
Yeah, he was like, she if she can't see it, she can't prove it. And let me tell you where that comes from. In the church that I was raised in, there are there are and were so many men that were cheating on their wives, pastors, deacons, elders, whatever, right? Um, and so, th- like, if you wanted to confront this situation, you're supposed to go in front of the pastor and stuff like that. Well, they had a rule at that time that the woman had to prove that her husband was cheating on her. So you had women literally staking out their husbands to take a picture or something to try to prove that her husband was cheating on her so she can get permission to get a divorce. Like it was that crazy. And it was to the point where a lot of men, they kept getting away with it. They would look down at the woman like because she's supposed to love him to death, do them part for better or for worse, send it through hell, for no matter what he does, you're supposed to stay, basically. That was like a big thing. And so my mother, she kept staying because of the indoctrination. And I remember 8 years, I think I was 8 years old, and I was so upset with them. I got tired of all the fussing and anger, all the crap, all the mess going on, and all the stuff that I knew, right? And so I confronted my mom and dad, and I said, can y'all please get a divorce? And they looked at me like, what? I was like, please, I was begging them, can you please get a divorce? I feel like y'all staying together for me. And there's no need to do that because I don't want y'all together. I do not want y'all together. Please get a divorce. I was like, y'all don't like each other. Y'all got all these problems. Can y'all just get a divorce? Let's just get a divorce so everybody can just be happy. Because I don't want y'all together. Like y'all argue all the time. I'm going through the list of things. I was like, please get a divorce. That didn't happen until I was 15, though. And then, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, I was like, this is getting on my nerves.
I cannot imagine my little one coming to me and saying some shit like that.
I was
Like,
so serious. I came with boldness. I didn't care. I didn't care what they said. I didn't care. I was like, I'm sick of this. And it was crazy. Um, Man, there's some specific I was gonna say about that. I forgot. But
and
um
so how did this, because this is a lot. Like, how, I mean, this is a lot. So in your personal dynamics, I mean, okay, let's back it. So, first of all, in your personal dynamics, how was this showing up? Because it's like, you know, you got all of these responsibilities on you at a young age. Number one, you're exposed to sexuality at a very, very young age. Um, so now 15, parents are divorced. I mean, where the fuck is your mental and what is your dynamic with boys at this time of this teenage, these teenage years?
so I remember when I was 13 and I was like, and I just wanted to have sex so bad. I wanted to have sex at 12 and I didn't. But I wanted to. I just with all the, exposure to sex and all
Of
the
course.
feelings, I'm like, I want to have sex. And then my daddy, he up there cheating like crazy. Sex must be the bomb.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For you to destroy your family from it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, um, so I tried one time. It didn't work out, which I'm glad it didn't. And then at 13, I started having sex at 13. And I remember when it was me and my best friend at the time, and we was talking about sex and stuff to my dad. And I was like, I told him, I was like, I want to have sex. And he was like, no, 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 don't do that. You don't need to have sex. He was like, He was like, um, um, talking about our vagina or like the innocence of us is like an orange and it's unpeeled. And once you unpeel an orange, you can't peel it back and unpeel it and all the pieces are taken off. It's like it's not, you can't put it back together again. And you need to wait until you get married and all this type of stuff like that. And I used to be like, I hear what you saying, but I still want to have sex. And so I started at 13. And uh I got, it's so much stuff. I just like so much stuff in here. But I will say this, because I'm trying to see where to fit this in. Between 8 and 10, I have gaps of memory gone.
Mm-hmm.
This goes also with the not feeling protected. Um, it was times where I had gotten molested and told, but nothing was done. So as
Mm-hmm.
far as like the not feeling protected, it's like in so many different areas,
Yep.
so many different areas. And so when I told, and it makes you feel like, okay, so this, I got violated, but nobody's gonna do anything about it. Like, and my dad is a fighter, like a fighter. He did jujitsu, he boxed and stuff like that. And growing up, he was a fighter. And he, from his stories and my family stories, he's one of 8. My dad was the one that protected people.
Uh-huh. But you. Mm-hmm.
And so when with the different times I got molested, I just know he gonna go and beat the hell out of them, cuss them out, whatever, to the point of being put in jail. I just know this is gonna happen, and it didn't happen, and I didn't understand, and it really hurt my feelings. I didn't understand, and then also with him, with my dad's anger was something serious. Like sometimes when he got so angry, you could see the evil being come through. You can see it like morph on his face.
Mm-hmm.
So I got like an insane amount of crazy, ridiculous, don't make no sense whoopings where I had like I'll have whelps, big fat whelps raised up on my
Yeah.
butt. And and then he would like talk to me forever. So I would have 2 tortures. He might talk to me for 2 hours, 3 hours, where I had to stand. He'll sit down. He'll be sitting down, his legs open. I got to stand in between his legs, and I had to be like this close. And he's talking to me and fussing or whatever for like 1 to 3 hours, and I gotta go. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes. No. And then in my head, I'm up here screaming and hollering, mad, fussing, cussing them out. But my face is perfectly, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. For hours. It was exhausting. So my face, I better not look like I don't want him talking to me. If spit get in my face, I better act like spit didn't get in my face. I just had to be like perfect. When I got my spankings, I better not move. I better have my arms by my side and stay perfect while I got my spankings. I've gotten spankings for like 30 minutes straight before. Just all kinds. It's all a trip. And I know it's this I'm making my father, so whatever. We also had a good relationship too. He taught me a lot of
Yeah,
things.
but like, everybody's hip to this show
Okay,
at this
right.
point.
So
We did.
it wasn't everything bad. He was, fun
No, but
person.
parents do the best they can with what they know at the time. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. So, but we talking about this. You asked about the trauma stuff. That's what we talking about. So, but there's a time period of block. There's a block where I do believe. Not okay. I can say I believe. I didn't know for years what happened to me. Can I talk about that or no?
Of course.
I People in my family don't know about this. So
Come on out the
Look,
closet.
let me get my fan. You said what?
I said, come on out the closet.
Woo! Okay. So, uh, I have a block from 8 to 10 around that time period. I got a whole bunch of chunks, blocks of space that's gone, but I have little memories. So I had flashes of my father being sexual to me,
Mm-hmm.
little flashes here and there, flashes for years. And I used to be like, where's this coming from? Why am I thinking
Right.
this? Because I'm not having any, clear, full memories of this happened from this. It was blocked. So it just be like little two, two, two. So I'm not, so I'm like, did something happen to me? Did he do something to me? And so I'm thinking that's been for years. And so I'm like, and then I go, I don't know. Will he do that? But he was supposed to protect me. I'm going through this stuff in my mind. Like he's supposed to be my protector. My stuff happened in my dad's family of molestation and rape in my dad's family.
Mhm.
And that's like secretive, it's very secretive,
Of
all
course.
that stuff, right? But my daddy would help fight. See, I knew this stuff growing up. He told me about all this stuff. So so I'm learning that that's bad. You don't touch your children. You don't do that type of stuff. And how he helped to fight to help protect others in that stuff. So in my mind, there's no way that he could have done anything to me because he's teaching me that that's wrong and how he fought to help protect others where that stuff was happening to. So that's why when little teeny little sparks of vision, I would be like, that's not true. My
Right.
mind is tripping, something's going on. So I'm like, okay, okay. Sorry, I guess my phone is glitching. Um, So I was getting little glimpses, little flashes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, of information. And so um the thing that my dad used to tell me all growing up was, excuse me, was how he loves me so much, and he'll be always be there to protect me. He would always say this, but that wasn't what was happening like it needed to. But he would always be putting that in my head. Daddy always love you, and Daddy always protect you, and Daddy always be here for you. He would always say that, say that, say that, say that. So that made the little flashes of teeny little where I could see him over me. I could feel a sexualness and stuff like that. And they're like, and I'm talking about little teeny blurts. So those little feelings and weird stuff, I was like, I don't know where this is coming from. This can't be real. This can't be true because my daddy told me he gonna always love me and protect me and be there for me. So I'm just like, that can't be true. This whatever is this stuff. It's just some weird, weird stuff. And you know how like little girls, you know how little girls, they just love their daddy, and
Mhm.
the little girls be like, I'm gonna marry my daddy when I grow up. You know how little
Exactly.
girls that type of
Hmm.
stuff. So I'm thinking as I'm growing up, it might have been something like that, like
Of course.
weird, like. But even though that was like ill, but I was thinking that must what it was, even though it was an ill to it. And so I would just put that out my mind for off and on for
Of
years
course.
because like that can't be that. So anyway, and so just recently I found out that it did. It was true. And so I am now going through the process to bring those memories back so that I can deal with it.
Yeah, so
And
I'll tell the people what happened. So you don't want to tell them
I,
that. So she came and got a reading, and she
I
didn't go into detail like she's going into now, but she just felt that something happened to her and she blocked it out. And so, she was just asking for basically the confirmation that it had happened. And anyone who gets a reading from me, we don't play that shit. We do not play the game of ignoring what you already know. You know what I'm saying? So she just got confirmation from us that this is something you already know. Do not discount, discredit, dishonor yourself by playing that game. you know. Um, so one thing is that I want to make clear because this is a thing and it happens, right? Especially right here, just alone, we got two generations right here. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? And so this was going on in my generation, going on in hers, and then the generation before hers, it was going on more prevalent, and it's still going on in our families. It's just that now I'm very thankful because it now mofos is being exposed. And
yeah,
it's not to harm anyone because hurt people. You know
right.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And it's
yeah,
something in the mind, you know what I'm saying, that's a little kooky
right.
that can lead a person to violate another person in this way.
Mhm,
And in some cases, there are situations where people actually, because this had happened to them from a loved one, someone that they love, they then perpetuate that to another loved one. And
mhm,
it's a form of love. Even though there's something in your being that says that it ain't right, but someone did it to you that you felt genuinely loved you. And then so you just passing it on, right?
mhm,
And then for you, I want you to realize and give praise and honor to yourself that when it's time for these things to come forth and be dealt with, everything is in divine timing.
mhm,
Because you were dealing with, I mean, just in the story of how he would talk to you and how he would make sure that you were looking at him, how, just how he would treat you. Like you were constantly being brainwashed.
yeah.
I mean, on a constant basis, which made your mind, that pathway, really, really flexible.
Mhm,
Really, really flexible. So, in going through this journey, because a lot of us, when this first, when it starts coming up, there's shame, there's guilt, there's dirt, I felt all these things when it happened to me, and I really started like dealing with it when I bought it out to deal with it. Those were the initial things, like I'm a dirty bitch. You know what I mean? Like, and then the guilt, how you put yourself in these situations, like all the shit that it don't even make no sense.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
It's like you want a reason to blame yourself you know? So just keep that in mind and keep giving yourself grace and honor, and we as a collective are very thankful for the work that you are in the process of doing to also assist those that have gone through these similar situations with parties that are very, very close to them. I feel like that's and I don't want to put levels in anybody's shit, but we just talk about what is. Let's talk
Mhm,
about it. You know what I mean? For
mhm,
me, it's a lot different when it's someone that's close to you versus a neighbor down the street or you know what I'm saying, someone you didn't know violating you in such a way.
mhm,
And so this is a thing that has to be dealt with in this now. You know what I mean? So that as a collective, we can heal from this shit and we can move on from it. Because
mhm,
when we start to get to the bottom and the nitty gritty of these things, then it's so not repetitive in the human experience, period. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's almost like it's out of style. It's played out
Right. Right.
type
Right.
shit, you know? And so that's the trend that we're starting now with all
Right.
the work that's being done, with all the getting to the bottom of your traumas and healing. This is very crucial.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that because it's a lot of people that do not talk about this, especially when it's a father, a mother, a sister, or a brother. You know what I mean? Like it's not talked about.
Especially when he's looked upon by a lot of people in high regard. And so what's the trip is okay, so I'm not gonna say who the person is. I'm just gonna say I have family. I'm gonna put it like that. That didn't want anybody to know about what happened to them.
Right.
And it's a trip because I wanted them like they need to tell people. That's how I felt, right? But they didn't want to. But then I realized literally like the other day, like now, me and them, we talked. They know how that I, as I've gotten older, that I'm like I really do think stuff did happen. Um, but I realized, well, okay, I'm just okay. Let me change this. I'm just now right, recently know for a fact. I'm gonna put it like that for a fact of yep, sure did happen. No doubting it happened. Um, but I understand the not want the exposing it to family. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I get that. I get what the don't want to tell nobody. I get that, but I know this is the time. This is the time for this to happen. It's to close. It's to close off. What's the word? What's it
Well, we
called?
want to take you out of a space of allowing. That's what people don't get about not healing their traumas and you keep burying them. It's almost like that stream coming from you. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't been healed. It's still in your energy field, you
Right.
know? And you are a magnet, you are a transmitter. So you're going to be attracting this, you know what I'm saying, still to you. It's almost like being in a state of allowance. When you don't deal with it, you keep yourself open to it. When you don't deal with it, you keep yourself open to it. That needs to be
That
on
is
the shirt.
yeah.
So
Right. That is
it's
interesting
really
because
closing that door. Definitely.
it definitely has to get closed because there's other things that happened to me in my adult life. You just what you just saying that, and that was very upsetting and crazy and didn't make any sense. And like you said, you feel like why? Ugh, that's that's interesting. Um, wow, 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 wow,
Yeah,
wow.
let it come up and out. Because as I said, we want to discontinue this cycle. We want to disconnect from that cord. We want to get a samurai sword and chop that bitch. Like, we are no longer in a state of allowing.
Wow. Wow. Ugh. Wow. Um, so because I've been through a lot of different things that have given me a lot of wisdom and smart and intelligent in a lot of different areas. And I seen put together well. So people don't see so people certain things people wouldn't believe would have a hard time believing that certain things happened to me as an adult. So when I expose some things that happen as an adult.
Okay, so you're saying how you're put together and
Yeah, and so when and I'm gonna talk about it. So, but before I say that, I went through an extreme amount of rejection when I told what happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it made it, and I looked like I was made to look like I was lying, and I lost relationships
Yes.
because it's like, how could you let that happen? That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense. You're too smart. You know this, that, and how in the world could you let that happen? That doesn't make like I'm too much of an analytical thinker. I process things all types of ways. I help so many people, and so it was like, how did you allow that to happen? And so it was hard for people to believe that that things were done to me for a long period of time, for some years. Ugh. Yeah, this is funny that this particular situation is even harder to talk about than my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm still connected to people, and some I'm not connected to at all. But mm, so and what you said is helping me understand even more, because even I was like, why, how did I let this happen, right? But it has to do with all the programming that I've been under from my dad and from the church. The indoctrination, the programming is so thick, it's so deep. It's anyway. So and then you thinking some particular people may see this and find out, and so it's just like, uh. But anyway,
Well, like I said, we got to break cycles. The shit got to come up and it's got to come out. And then
yeah,
you at the same time of coming out, you can't be judging your self grace. You already know the whys deep programming, and the whys are also assisting the collective. You know what I mean? Because people have had some really very traumaful experiences and they don't have their mind. You still have your mind. You still have your heart. Their mind breaks off into fractal fucking pieces. So does their heart. And they don't even have the ability to even be able, some of them, to be able to articulate
yeah,
what you're able to articulate and be a so-called sane person.
yes. So like when you said, and I'm gonna paraphrase how, because of what happened with my dad, so situations were coming like this. And then there's also other situations that came that weren't sexual, but still has to do with that, still that arena
Hmm.
of being manipulated and controlled. And I'm telling you, it all comes down, I'm so serious. It all comes down to, for me and to me, the indoctrination that I went through with the religious stuff.
Hmm.
So much stuff has happened. But so there's this particular person. We were gosh, yeah, this is a hard one. This is hard. Um I had some friends that came to live, came and stayed with oh my god. My tell it. So
You had some
my
friends that came and stayed with your family.
this is in my adult life what I'm getting ready to talk about.
Okay.
And so in my first marriage, we had met some people through other people, and we all became friends and got close. And so they used to come and stay with us. This is when we lived in Dallas. And so close, we got really, really close, right? Like I just loved them so much. They loved me. And I had a physical situation that happened to me that I don't know what this was. I have no clue what this was, but for some reason my body started locking up
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
out of nowhere. Just
Mm-hmm.
started locking. And so my I started bending. It can't see me good. I started bending like this. We were all out to eat. My body just started bending like this, right? And it just kept bending and bending. And I couldn't sit back up. And it was hurting. And I
Mm-hmm.
was in so much pain. And it
Mm-hmm.
was scaring me because my body just kept bending and locking like this. And I to the point where my face is about at my knees.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm crying because it's terrifying me. I'm young. I'm in my early 20s. I already had my first two children. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on, man. What's going on with me, right? And I'm like, I'm locking. And we're all out at a restaurant. It's a big group of us. And so he was like, I know what to do, right? Because his mother was a practitioner who knew how to work the body and muscles and bones and do all this stuff to unlock you, right? So we all left the restaurant. I'm in pain. I had to walk out all bent over. I told them I'm doing okay. So I'm all bent over, walking in the walk out the restaurant, get in the car, hurry up, everybody, because we nobody knows what's going on with me. We hurry up and get to the house. And so he um he got a broomstick and had me lay on the floor. This is in front of everybody. And everybody's fine with it because we knew that he would know what to do. So he gets the broomstick and he puts it on certain parts of my spine and digs in it. And it totally released me. It
Mm-hmm.
took a minute, it took a while, right? He's working my spine with the broom, with the end of the broomstick. And then I start relaxing, I start unlocking, and then I was good, right? It was like certain things did to my ear. And then his wife, she knew some stuff, so they was doing certain things to my ear. And so that was the introduction of, oh, I can trust you. You know how to do stuff. And we all friends and close. So it's like it's not a big deal. So um and I was always amazed at what his mama did. I saw her do seminars, and do the stuff in front of people and huge audiences. So this is the real stuff, right? So um okay. So go forward some years. I get pregnant with my third daughter. I mean, not third daughter, third child.
Mm-hmm.
My first husband, me and his child. And so, but I was that pregnancy was very. I went through so much pain. I
Mm-hmm.
went through so much pain, and it was like the worst pregnancy out of all of them. Like it was, all the pain was ridiculous, and I needed relief. And we all friends and stuff. And so what? So he offered was to help release me. Okay, but the way, and I know how his mother released people. She literally would go in the vaginal area to do the releasing. I knew this is what is done. I've seen it myself. I know how it's done.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I say,
Oh,
yeah, no, exactly.
right. So when he offered to do it, and I'm married, right? So of course, what husband's gonna be like, yeah, let him let him do that to you. Of course not, right? And me and him were friends. He always called me little sis all the time. Little sissy, little sis. And yeah, this is my little sis, this is my little sis all the time. So we had a really close friendship. And then with his wife, we was all like best friends. Okay. We was all like best friends. And so, but this thing, like he's like, I can help you, but of course, nobody can know about it because how are we going to explain this to anybody that I'm doing this to you? So, and I'm in so much pain, and I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I can trust him. He ain't gonna do
Yeah.
nothing. I'm just
And
little
I
sis.
already know when you pregnant and you like, look, do what the fuck you gotta do. Like you just need relief immediately. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, like I said, all the proof was already in the pudding from what he did, me seeing his mom. I know he know what he's talking about. He was right there with her, so I'm like, yeah. And so I looked at it as a doctor
Yeah.
working on me.
We
But we just can't
grown.
tell nobody
Yeah.
because I'm going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's how he convinced me. And my pain so bad, I'm like, yeah, okay, like, okay, I can't take this pain no more. So then he will work on me, and the pain would, relieve my pain. It was just like, oh, thank you, woo. And so just did the work or whatever. And um, so that happened throughout the pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the way it was done, the way he started doing, he started like doing stuff standing up at first, and then okay, I need you to lay down. I need you to lay down so I can do it a certain kind of way and blah. So I'm sitting there like, no, no, don't worry about it. You my little sis, I'm not trying to. This no. And I'm like, ah. But then the pain's like, oh, right. So I was like, right. So I'm like, okay. So so that went on. Now, have the child, have my child. Time goes by. We all end up living together. I'm not with my I wasn't with me and my husband got divorced. Me and my children, we all living together with them. We all best friends, right? So we all living together. We got this great situation going on in a business and everything. We doing good financially. Everything's great and high and woo, right? Okay. But at the same time, um, he wanted to, okay, oh wait, you know what? The way your hips aren't right. I see the way you walking. You going through some pain, aren't you? Yes. You got this going on with you, don't you? Yes. He's okay. Let me work on you. Let me work on you. It got to a point where it started being an obsession, and to the point to a point where I started like, because we were close friends, I was okay with it, but still had that little funny feeling. But it was like he would when I started getting to the point where I was like, I don't want this to happen anymore. When he said, when he would say, my little sis, you my little sis. Something about when he used those words,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a trigger, like a like a like sleeper agents. They can call a sleeper and it'd be a tone or they say a word and it activates them. That's what it was like. It was
Mm-hmm.
like that. And so it was like, this has to happen. And it was so crazy because parts of me was like, just don't let it happen no more. But the other parts was like, but it has to happen. It was so weird. I had this
No,
war. I had this
yeah. Yeah.
war going on. And then who am I gonna tell? I can't tell nobody because it's not supposed to be. This isn't this type of thing ain't supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? And oh God, ugh. And so um uh wow, it's so much. Okay, so it got to the point where it got to the point where I could hear him. I lived upstairs. I could hear. I'm not talking about no footsteps because he would sneak up the steps. I could hear him spiritually
Mm-hmm.
coming up the steps to come and work on me. And visually, what I could see was like a evil lion, like they like walk up the steps like this, and I could just feel the presence come up the steps, and I would be going through, oh, like dang, I don't want to, and and then I get a little tap, a little knock, you know what I'm saying? My children are in their rooms up there. I don't want my children knowing anything. It was just this constant sneaking, and I was sick of it, and I was tired of it, and I didn't want it to happen anymore, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to stop. And like he would call me, be like, okay, I'm going to come work on you. And I'm like, no, no, I don't want you to work on me. And then he'll be like, no, 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 I gotta work on you. I'm coming up to work on you. And it's just like, little sis. It's like, okay. And so I was like, what the hell? I'm a strong person. What is going on? Why can't I stop him? What's so hard for me be being like, get the freak off of me? I don't. It was crazy. And so we were up one night looking at a video, and it was talking about neuro linguistic mind control. And so, and what's funny was I'm looking at it with him, right? I'm lit because at that time I was a Christian, but learning to about coming out of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, neuro linguistic mind control, and they broke it down and explained it because at the time I kept praying. I was like, what's going on? I want this to stop. How do I stop this? Why am I not strong enough to stop it? What the hell is going on? I need help. Please help me. I'm begging. Please help me know what's happening so I can stop this. And so then the video, I look at it and I go, oh, that's what's happening to me. That's what's happening to me. And I knew about that type of stuff, but I didn't have the name, the name of it.
Exactly.
And so I was like, oh, oh. And then because I had that information, it gave me some ammunition to start trying to figure out how to get out of this. And my situation at the time, like I said, we all lived together.
Mm-hmm.
We met children, their child, all of us lived together in a nice neighborhood, a multi-million-dollar neighborhood. Okay. I'm up here for the first of my life doing so good financially, living in over $500,000 home, big old giant. First time, remember, I'm coming from struggle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
living good, right? And so once I figured that out, and I know it's too much stuff for me to talk about everything right now. So I know we'll have another um,
A part
Zoom,
two.
yeah, part two. But you remember when I told you about the quote quote demonic entity that I had stopped messing with me? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All this is happening at the same time. All
Mm-hmm.
this stuff is happening at the same time. Okay. So when I had got enough power to stop that entity from messing with me, then learn about the neurolinguistic mind control all around the same time. Then I got bold enough to be like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm out of here, out of this. And beg me, please don't go. Like, no, whatever. And so, well anyway, so um, I I had to move my children out from like hardly nothing because we all together, and move my children out, me and my children, to go live with somebody else, to live with some other people, which was a huge thing in itself, right? And so the his wife, who was my best friend at the time, she's not knowing anything. She'll know what's going on. She doesn't know why I'm leaving. She'll know why I'm moving. She's having a fit. What's going on? I didn't want her to know what was happening. I just wanted to get out of the situation. I just got to get out of here. I want to go. I didn't want to talk about it because I'm gonna look like we having a an affair. That's what it would look like. And I'm like, but that's not what this is. And I just didn't feel like talking about it. And like I said, I'm like, nobody's gonna believe me about this situation. And so, it was so much. And so I get my kids together. We moving. She's trying to figure out what's going on. And so once I moved, I met him. I wanted us to meet. We met at a restaurant, and he was wanting to know why I was doing this. I said, listen, I realize what you're doing to me. I realize what you're doing to me. I because I've been telling you I want to stop. I don't want to do this anymore, but you always keep on at it, no matter how much I beg you. I don't want to do this anymore. And and then we looked at that video. I realized what you're doing to me. You're using neuro linguistic mind control on me. And of course, he's upset and he ain't trying to hear that. He thinks like that's crazy. Like, no, 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 but you're my sister. You're my little sister. Little sister. I said, no. I said, you see what you're saying right there? I said, those are the words that controlled me. When every time you said little sis, that's how you were able to manipulate and control me where I couldn't stop you no matter what. And so he's upset. He don't want this to happen. He want everything to stop. And I was like, but I'm not gonna say anything. This is between. We're gonna leave between us, and we're gonna go our separate ways. And because I don't want the wife to be hurt. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
you good because most of us would have been like, so yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing, but I got these three kids, and so monthly, if you go ahead and send a little six, $700, $800, just for the next few months, make sure we good. That's
He
all.
wouldn't have been able to even really be to do that. It was so much stuff going on that whole dynamic. And his my boyfriend at the time was his best friend who was
He would have
over.
figured out a way to do it. And look, just like he was figuring out how to creep his ass on up them damn stairs, he would have figured out
Right.
how to put that $500 in your pocket
That's
every
so
month.
funny. But you know what? I just wanted to have nothing to do with him. I didn't want
No,
anything. So
I get it. I was just popping my shit. I'm like,
I just wanted a whole new week, just be gone. So what ended up happening was so we agreed was gonna just leave it alone and not talk about it and not tell anybody anything and just move on. And so his wife, she was like, oh, let me back up. Let me back up. Let me back up. They both had a type of obsession with me. And I realized also throughout years that people get this obsession with me, but they don't want to share me with anybody. They want to keep me to themselves and suck up all my energy and all my Janita-ness.
hold on, pause, pause, pause. All right, y'all. So we doing the part two. We will be back. We will see y'all next week. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yes, I know this one is getting good. You're like, how? That's why we're gonna break it down into a part two. We will be back. We want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. Peace, 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 love, and bliss. And remember, through your heart, booze, peace.